Welcome. Getting all the streams set up here. How's it going, everybody? It's Saturday. Chill tea time today. That's what we got planned. Hope everybody's doing great. I'm Jesse. I'm your tea guy. We're gonna chill out. We're gonna drink some tea. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Very excited. Gotta live a little couple minutes over here for everybody to get into the chat. But basically, if I've ever been to one of the tea time and chill things, basically I'll sit here, we'll make some great tea. Today I'm gonna be trying one of the teas that I brought back from my Beijing tea collection. So very excited to try this because I haven't had it since I was in Beijing in May, I would say, is when I was drinking this. And then before that, obviously, it was one of the teas I was drinking back when I lived in China, and then wound up getting packed away with all my possessions when the borders shut down and my whole life blew up. It's a good tea, reminds me of some good times, having some great tea in Beijing, and be able to share that with you guys today. So welcome. I've got a couple chats over here. If anybody has any tea questions, obviously feel free to ask me. If you don't know, if you're new to the server, everything, I'm Jesse, I'm a tea guy. Jack in the Bean Quest says, good morning, Jesse, drinking your 6-year age fruiting white tea. Cheers, thank you so much. Hope you are enjoying it. If you like the white tea, you're gonna be excited. We have a new white tea that's gonna be hitting the shop in 3 days. So after Halloween on November 1st, the new subscription boxes are going out, and those new subscription boxes have a white dew white tea in them, which is very, very nice. So it's always great to be able to have people over here. Questions over here. If anybody has any questions on chat, feel free to put them here. Can people not chat on the here we go, top chat, okay, let's close. I'm making sure all my screens are going. Live chat, got it. Okay, I think we're working. So great to see everybody over here. Are you drinking matcha tea? No, today I'm not drinking matcha, I'm drinking pu'er. I'm just gonna reboil my water here and then get this going while I tell you what tea we're drinking today. Steve says, love the content, thank you so much. We have over here, this is the Ning Bu Xu Chuan. The Ning is name, or like sort of like your name recognition. Bu is not. Xu is like empty. Chuan is to share. So the name is not shared emptily, or my better English translation would be famous for a reason. Ning Bu Xu Chuan. This is a raw pu'er from, what year is this? This is old because I got it back a long time ago. Trying to see if they wrote the year on it. It's a tea that is it's called a Huangpian pu'er. Huangpian is yellow leaf, and they're a little bit sweeter than normal pu'ers. And let's see here, we have a great tea cake here for you guys today. Show you what we're drinking. Bam, 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 bam. Enjoy. Here we go. What is a good pu'er? That's from TikTok moderator assistant over here. By the way, I have a couple phones running, so if my eye line's a little bit funky, that's why. What is a good pu'er? Is that kind of like a question about what makes a good pu'er? I mean, obviously good leaves. Pu'er tea all comes from a couple states in Yunnan province. So if it's not from Yunnan, it's not pu'er. It's kind of like that, like champagne type thing. And then what I look for in a good pu'er is first you need to know if it's raw or cooked. Raw pu'er is going to be lighter, golden, little astringent taste, sweet. Cooked pu'er is going to be dark, earthy, very rich, very smooth. Very different teas, even though they're both pu'er tea. And we're going to be trying some of this Ningbu Sichuan today. Really nice aged sheng pu'er, aged raw pu'er. Put that in there. By the way, if anybody has any tea questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If I miss your question, please just bring it back in a bit. I'm trying to juggle a bunch of chats here, and whenever I talk about stuff, so the chat only goes so far and gets pushed up. So apologies if I don't get to your question. I will get to them. I'm here to chat and hang out with everybody. Big Gums on YouTube said, hey Jesse, yesterday I had tried a green tea with chamomile and it was super bitter. Do you know why that would be? Couple things I could think of. One, green tea, low quality green tea is just going to be bitter. I don't know how good the quality of the green tea is, but usually in the West, if it's mixed with flowers, there's a temptation to use bad quality tea, because if you were drinking it straight without any other stuff in it, you'll really be able to tell if the tea quality is bad. Whereas sometimes blended teas in general, the blend is there to cover up bad flavors that may have just like come from not having great tea in the first place. The second reason is you may have steeped it too hot. So the green tea will do well between, say, 70 and 85 degrees Celsius. So that's like, I don't know, 160 something to 185 Fahrenheit. So if you steep it too hot, then you may not get the really nice kind of smooth green tea flavor out of it. It's also possible that you steeped it too long. Specific steep times and temperatures will really depend on the tea and the quality of the tea. So it's a little bit tricky to tell you whether you did or didn't do those things, but I'd say too hot, too long. That's kind of the easy way to know whether or not your green tea is a problem. Then if you steep it, like at a lower temperature, you might get better results. So cheers, everybody. First steep coming out here. By the way, Chinese tea is nice from Hanahan. Thank you so much. Thank you for the rose. Peace. We have a question from Jeff DeHaan. Says, good morning, Jesse. I'm currently drinking some Malfang green tea. Excellent. I have a question. Do you have any tips on finding tea bricks locally? Love your content. It's a good question. I mean, obviously I have tea cakes and tea bricks on my site. There are other places to get them. The challenge is, like, without having drunk them, I can't tell you what's good or not. If I haven't drunk it, I can only ask where are the tea farmers, like where is it from, try to get that information, which is why all the tea on my site, that's what I know. I know the farmers I'm buying it from. I know the shops I'm buying it from. I know the regions it's coming from. Give you guys a little smell of the lid here. Cheers, cheers, cheers. You really need to taste them. And the other thing is, like, think about what does locally even mean when it comes to tea cakes. So if your tea cake is good, it's going to be coming from Yunnan. So basically, whether it's somebody on the internet that is sending it to you, or whether it was sent to a shop and then you can try it. The good thing about being in person is that you can try stuff. But I have no idea where every tea shop is in the country, and it's a really small kind of niche market. So it's not really guaranteed that even if you have someone local, they're going to be better than the people online. And that's why I do encourage people, if you want really good tea, go to my website. I've done all that scouting out for you. Obviously doing the scouting is fun. So if you have a local tea shop, of course, go by, sit down, chill out for a while, bring your friends, go and spend a whole day drinking tea. It's a great way to spend your time. None of it's local. It's all coming from China somewhere. So the question is, who is the person that you trust to be doing that, looking, checking the farmers, checking those different areas, and then putting something in front of you so you know that the quality is fairly good. Very, very good. Questions. Kramus asked, is this a blowfish tea pet? It's a pufferfish tea pet. These guys are going on the website in November. It's a new product. I have not revealed it until now. Oh my God. So you guys take a look at the pufferfish. Pufferfish is going to be on the website in November. New teas. Also, I'm also going to do a little reveal here of the new horse tea pet. This guy is launching in 3 days. I have named mine Chonky Horse. And Chonky Horse is going to go out to all the tea subscribers. If you're subscribed to my Tea Club box, then you'll get one of these in the mail very soon. And if you're not subscribed, starting on November 1st, you can sign up and get the horse box with all the good stuff. So very, very excited. Questions. Sam Askew on Instagram asks, are there benefits to drinking the same tea consistently versus switching it up and getting different healing health-wise for reaping benefits of a particular herbal tea? Herbal teas I don't know that much about, period. The tea tradition that I do here, they don't really do any herbal teas. There's obviously within Chinese traditional medicine, there's lots of uses for herbal herbs and even tea within Chinese medicine, but those are usually, it's prescribed by a Chinese medicine doctor. They tell you how to make them. It usually is a different extraction time. Like usually the extraction times are very long, very intense. long boils in water, and it's not really like the way that you would make tea in this sort of sense. So I can't really say for sure if there's any benefit to one or the other, or mixing or keeping it together. I think I added not enough tea in here the first time. Gonna add a couple more leaves. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I usually mix up the teas that I'm drinking just because I don't generally like drinking the same tea every day. Maybe I'll drink the same type of tea a couple days in a row, but usually, I have so many teas, so I just try a little bit of everything. So this is great. Great questions over here. This is from Benjamin Child. Saw the post for the podcast mics. When are you planning on releasing the first episode, and what's it called? Great question. We're planning on releasing a new podcast / video talk show. I haven't really announced this anywhere, so this is a good place to kind of soft announce and see what you guys are thinking. A new show where I'm going to be drinking tea with interesting people and basically having fun conversations. The show is going to start to come out. I believe our current release date now is the second week of November, so like 10 days, something like that. We've shot a couple episodes already. They're being edited. There's going to be an audio podcast, which is an hour long. Then I'm going to take highlights of those videos and maybe make a 12 to 20 minute video of each episode. And then of that, we'll also be breaking down shorts. So cheers, everybody. The show is called Tea Time with Jesse. Oh, this is so good. Hold on. Really, really nice. The aged Shung Puer, it still has that astringency and sweetness, but it's really balanced by more smoothness. And this will actually open up. I expect this will get darker as we drink it, but that brings back some good memories. And because it's a yellow cake puer, the Huangpian puer, it's sweeter than normal, which I like the astringency, but I also, I'm always digging a sweet tea. It's almost like this is like a white tea and a puer mixed together. Cheers. Yes, it sounds fun. Jackie Beanquist says, it sounds fun in English or Chinese, hoping for Chinese. We're doing episodes in English for now, but when I go to China, I've taken great pains. It isn't easy to find a bilingual editor, bilingual social media team that's going to be helping me. And so if we want to shoot episodes in Chinese, it actually won't be hard to do. So we're going to be shooting some episodes in Chinese next time I go to China. For now, we're doing it in English just because it's we're all on the English language internet. But that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. Questions. A.T. Atona says, I love the Shomei white tea in the rabbit box. I'm not sure how much I like the oolong. Cheers. Everybody's got their own taste. Da Hong Pao and white tea are pretty opposite each other in terms of flavor. Definitely not everybody likes all the different types of tea. The Shomei white tea is really light, sweet, but also got some like deep herbal notes to it. And obviously it's got the mandarin orange peel in there too. The Da Hong Pao is like nutty, dark, earthy, very sort of like aged oolong flavor to it. So they're very different. So you don't have to like them all. And part of the fun of having part of the fun of my subscription thing is that you can get different teas coming all the time. The ones you like, you can get more of, or you can get more of a similar style. The ones you don't like, you can give it a try, share with your friends, see if they like it. We even have some people on the Discord that swap their teas, which is kind of cool. So that is cool. So over here, Gabor Kaldar says, hello, Jesse, greetings from Hungary. What are your favorite teas and why? Thank you. I'll get to that in a moment because it's so many teas. The Phoenix Informer says, hey, Jesse, just learned about Gongfu Chan, working on buying my first tea set. Any suggestions before my first tea? Well, if you're looking to buy a set, I have sets on the site. This tea table that we're drinking from right now, with the gold inlay, the tea pets, the teacups, all this sort of stuff is on my site. I have a bunch of other tea tables that are out of stock that are coming back into stock. We are like rushing restocks on a bunch of stuff to be able to do restocks by Black Friday. So we're gonna have a bunch more options that are sold out on the site available. But really, I would say first start with the question of how you're planning on using the tea table. If it's something that you're planning on packing up after each use and putting away, then you might want one of the travel sets that are going to be back in stock in November. I have 2 travel sets that come with like complete carrying cases, and they pack up very efficiently. If you're going to be keeping it there, you could consider a larger bamboo tray like this one, or a stone tray. The stone trays are really beautiful. They're heavy, they're a little annoying to move. But if you have a set place in your house or your apartment that you're looking to be making tea, and you want it to really kind of be more of like a space, the bigger tea tables are a good option for that. That being said, you can make that tea space with just a basic teapot. We have travel teapots on the site, which are really good for offices or whatever. But you could have a space like this in just a pot, and like, you know, be in good shape. So I think that what you're looking to do, how you're looking to enjoy the tea time, is a big thing you can think about. And then also like the color of the materials, like if it fits the room that you're in. Cheers, everybody. Loving this. Very sweet. It's even sweeter than I remember it. Interesting. Asiatona said, that's the reason why I love your content and everything on the shop. You show that there's really many options for tea, and you can find what you like. I really like the variety. Yeah, I think that part of one of the misunderstandings I think about tea when it comes to like, you know, being in the West is that they're like, oh, like all of the tea is somehow sacred. And it's like, no, like you can like some and not like others. There are many different styles of tea. They evolve that way because people have different tastes. Like human beings in the last 2,000 years of drinking tea have said, what if this one was sweeter? What if that one was darker? Some people like them all. I kind of find I like almost all of them, but there are, usually for me, it comes down to like kind of cost effectiveness. Like I've tried yellow tea before. It's like fine. I don't really usually feel like yellow tea is the best place to put my money. Like it just tends to be more expensive for how good I think it is. So like sometimes that's a factor. Other factors are just like sometimes you have like certain sense memories. Like, you know, I've gone to Yunnan several times. I've you know, spent time on the tea mountains in Yunnan, and in Yunnan they make Puer tea, and so this is what people drink there. And so for me, I smell the pu'er, I drink the pu'er, it brings me back to all those really nice times out in the middle of nowhere on these mountains, talking to the tea farmers, hanging out all day, and like all we have to do is drink tea. So like, I'm a fan of that. Now, somebody else might not have those sense memories, and so they drink the pu'er and it's something different to them, but they might have good or bad other sense memories that come up with it. So it's always something to think about. Question over here from the TikTok, by the way. Dan Dark Horse says, Dank Horse? Dark Horse. What tea are you drinking? I am drinking raw pu'er, ancient tree raw pu'er, Ning Bu Xu Chuan, the famous for a reason tea cake. This was one of the cakes that was in my personal tea collection back in Beijing. For those of you who are new to the channel or don't know, I lived in Beijing for 9 years. Tea was my hobby there, and then I took what I thought was a 9-day vacation back to the United States for Chinese New Year in January of 2020. As you know, in January of 2020, China shut down and the world shut down and the borders shut down. And it turned out to be over basically 3.5 years before I could go back to China and sort out the remainder of my life. These tea cakes, like this literal tea cake was part of my tea collection in Beijing for all those years, and then wound up getting packed off in a random box into a storage facility underneath an apartment complex in Fengtai. And so eventually when I went back in May, I went to the warehouse, I went to the storage place, I found some of my tea and my tea pets, I brought those back, and this is one of those. So it's kind of nice to be drinking tea from the Beijing collection, like my real tea collection. I kind of had to rebuild my whole tea collection, seeing as I lost it all. Great questions. Fur Bale says, you sold the cracked bamboo tea tray. I'm not sure about cracked. If you have a problem with your tea tray that you got from my site, we have extras. We'll send you another one. If you email teafriendsupport@jessesteahouse.com, we have extras of the tea tray tops. And if any of them crack or it came damaged in shipping, the replacement's free. If you use it a lot and it winds up cracking through like regular use, then we'll replace it for a small fee. We're not making money on those. We just want to make sure that people are having a good tea time. Questions over here. Nathan Joseph on YouTube asked, would you put sugar in tea trying to settle an argument? So in the Chinese tradition, you don't put sugar in tea. And the reason is because the tea is not made to have sugar added to it. It has natural sweetness that's going to get blown out if you put processed sugar in it. Now, the Western tea tradition came from buying tea in China, putting it on boats that took 4 months to get back to the West, not buying the best tea to begin with, and also not taking any of the knowledge of how to steep or make the tea. The result is, by the time it got back to places like Britain and France and in the West, the tea was not good. It was not as fragrant. It was not as sweet and naturally sweet tasting. It was bitter. It was dark. And so the result is that people would add milk or sugar, any number of things into the tea to make it taste better. Also, that cut the leaves, which were still very expensive because it was coming from all the way around the world. So people would give you less tea and more anything else. And so a lot of this habit of adding milk or sugar to tea came from that. Then the British took the tea and planted it in all the colonies. And for the colonizers, it was actually more profitable to be making tea that was overly bitter and overly dark because they knew people were used to adding milk and sugar. So for the Chinese teas, if you add milk and sugar, you're actually going to kind of like wash out a bunch of the natural flavor. But for a lot of teas that are grown in India, Sri Lanka, Kenya, these teas were grown by colonizers for the colonizers' taste. So the result is if you try to have like an Indian chai tea without milk or sugar, it's going to be really dark and bitter. It's probably not a good experience. That being said, you know, people drink what they grew up with, so it's not like bad if you drink tea with milk or sugar. It's just kind of a waste if you're drinking good Chinese tea with milk and sugar. And if you're going to be drinking with milk and sugar, the black tea from those the former colonies of the empire are made for that taste. So similar with tea blends. A lot of tea blends came about again because they didn't have very good quality leaves, and so they want to mix other stuff with it. Nowadays, you can get good tea and quality in a blend, but again, there's not a ton of people that are actually doing it. Like, me, I spend all my time trying to get really good tea to people and doing all this energy in tea. I don't have any blends on the site. We're going to be launching one herbal and flower blend in maybe December. But that actually comes from almost a different tea tradition from northern China rather than southern China. So it gets kind of complicated, but basically you shouldn't feel the need to put sugar and milk into your tea if you're getting the sort of stuff that I have on my shop, or if you're getting stuff from other people who really know what they're talking about with Chinese tea. So hope that is good. Great, Mama P just got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you so much, Mama P. Appreciate it. What tea is good for energy? That's a good question over here from the TikTok chat. This tea that I'm drinking now is great for energy. Raw Puer Tea, Sheng Puer Tea. So Puer has two different types. They have raw Puer and cooked Puer. The raw Puer Tea is very, very, very energizing. It's this golden color. I'll show you here. This is what the raw Puer looks like. This golden color, yellow gold. The less aged stuff will be more like yellow gold. The more aged stuff like this will be closer to like a heavy gold. This is somewhere in the middle. This will really give you good energy. This is kind of like my get shit done tea. Like I drink this maybe in the morning and then it kind of goes all day. Important about this though, don't drink it on an empty stomach. Do not drink it on an empty stomach. Questions over here. Nathan, don't worry. Sometimes you need to give people some time to learn in the culture. When you bring out the Kung Fu tea set, people like to follow your steps. No one asks sugar, but the original way to enjoy. I think this is another thing is if you're getting into tea, I highly recommend inviting your friends over and making them some tea, just like kind of exploring together, because people are going to have questions about it. It may be a little bit different, but there's a reason why people have been doing it this way for hundreds of years. It's a very good way of making tea. I'm not going to say it's the only way of making tea, but it's a very good way of making tea. And it's when you have really good tea leaves, it really is a different experience from throwing a tea bag into a cup and then adding milk and sugar. It's almost like I like boba. I also like ice cream. To me, as a tea guy, boba is kind of like ice cream. It's like, I wouldn't want to eat ice cream for every meal. Occasionally, when I'm out on the street and I see a boba place, I'd be like, oh, I like some boba. Now, I lived in Asia for 9 years, so we were always getting boba. I was a comedy writer in China and a comedian. I wrote on the Chinese knockoff version of SNL, and so we would have some very late nights or long afternoons, and we would be writing comedy sketches, and somebody would come in and with boba, and it was like, oh, thank God. So you don't need to choose one or the other, but I kind of see tea more as tea and boba more like ice cream, if that makes any sense. I need to find out what tea is in this version of reality. Cheers, everybody. By the way, if I missed your questions, I really do apologize. I'm kind of hopping between different channels now, so I'll figure it out. Marcos Ramos says, recommendations for any sweeter flavored teas. Very good question. So I think white tea and green tea are always the go-to for sweetness for me. Green tea is kind of more floral, sweet, very fresh. It's like, it tastes very, very fresh, especially if you get good spring green tea. We have 3 green teas on the site now, which are all really good spring tea. Those are excellent. And those will be very naturally sweet, especially if you don't oversteep them and if you don't steep them too hot. So in general, if you want a tea to be sweeter, you can bring down the steep temperature. That tea you were steeping at 100 degrees boiling, back it down to 90. If you were at 90, back it to 80. You'll wind up with a sweeter tea. The flip side is that if you're making your tea sweet by lowering the temperature, you're also going to get less flavor out of it, so it's going to taste less intense. And in fact, that's kind of why a lot of people like raw pu'er. Like a lot of the tea people in China only drink raw pu'er, which I think is a little bit whatever, hoity-toity, but that's, they're drinking what they like. One of the reasons people like raw pu'er is you get that sweetness, but it also has astringency, it also has body, it also has aftertaste, it also has interesting mouthfeel, it has all of that stuff. And so if you're really into tea, it's a really good choice. Questions over here. Boba places you like in LA from Felicia Baroche. I really should know more about this, but there's a lot of really good boba places in LA. I have a friend who runs a place called Boba Bear. They're pretty good. I just go to a lot of these random boba places in the San Gabriel Valley where they have all the really good Chinese culture. So I've never missed over there. Also, it's like sugar. I get brown sugar boba, so it's like sugar and milk and tea all together. It can't be bad. Questions over here. I want to get a tea table, but I'm broke, from somebody in TikTok, Vaughn X. You don't need a ton of money to get started in tea, especially the equipment. It can cost money to get started, but it's something that for instance, I use every day, and it's it's a way of hosting. It's it's like having plates or cups. If you make tea, if you cook, you're going to need a couple plates. You don't want just one plate in your house. If you have one person, you're going to get 4 or 8 plates. Similarly, tea equipment can be like that. But you don't need really good equipment to make good tea. You can start by just taking 2 mugs and then put your tea in one mug, steep it in one mug, and then pour the tea water into the second mug. So you have tea here and leaves here with no water in the bottom. And then you've basically done everything you need to do to make good tea. You've had the steep time controlled, you've separated the tea water from the tea leaves, and then now you can re-steep the tea leaves anytime you want. When you're done with your cup, just pour this one again, pour out into here, drink from here, and then you can pour into here again. So you don't need to have that sort of, you don't need a table to hold all the stuff. That being said, we're rushing to get back in stock before Christmas. So if it's something that you want for Black Friday, for Christmas, for yourself, for a friend, to go and get the tea table. Like obviously, think of Jesse's Tea House. I actually work really hard. We're changing the tea table game because a lot of the tea stuff I have discovered, did not know this when I got into doing these channels, but through starting my website, I found out that a lot of the tea shops or like Amazon dealers or people like that are selling these tea tables, they're sending them one at a time by air. So because they don't have warehouses in the US and they don't want to deal with importing anything, so they're kind of like going under the radar for all of these different things. The result is that the prices are just more expensive. Even the ones with free shipping, it's not free. They're air shipping it from China. It's not free. So if you're paying the same amount of money and theirs has free shipping, the quality of the product is going to be lower because they might be spending half of all of the cost of the thing on the shipping. I get my stuff sent over on a boat. We just sent a new shipment of 3,000 kilograms of tea stuff. That sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but it's enough that I'm able to get some sort of scale to save money at shipping. It arrives in the States. I have them in the States, pre-packed, and so the result is when you guys want one, we just put it in the mail in the States. Not only do you get it faster, but also the savings in the shipping comes out in the fact I'm able to give tables like this is a really nice, good size, heavy bamboo tea table with a metal rectangular insert here and hand-carved lotus paintings over here. This is 68 bucks on the website. So it's like 68 is not cheap, but like again, you're taking this large fragile object, moving it around the world. It's going to cost some amount of money, and obviously the materials cost money. But the way that I do it, not only will you get it faster, but if there's a problem, I'll send you another one or I'll send you a replacement part. Which you won't find anywhere else on Amazon, because I'm in it for the tea people, baby. I'm in it to help you guys. So yeah, I would definitely say think about that if you're looking at getting a tea set maybe for the holidays. But you should not feel like you have to have a fancy tea set in order to make good tea. A lot of this is aesthetic and it's about enhancing the experience, which I agree. But the tea itself, if you make it with that 2-mug method, you'll get pretty good results. Not quite as good as doing this, but pretty good. You'll definitely get better results than just like throwing a tea bag in there. So lots of questions, very, very good. Or Zia XZ says, where can I get some good tea resins? On my place, we are restocking our tea resin. The new tea resins are coming in the middle of November. I have really good ancient tea tree resin, 2017. From Xianjiajai Mountain, where I was in June. I was at that mountain. I saw their tea. All of their teas are in our master box, and the tea resins are also available. And they're available as soon as we can get them restocked. We have a whole bunch. We sold out, so they're coming. Questions. Dominic Deutsch says, and the tea I ordered from you should be arriving in a week or so. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Andrew Stevens says, thank you. I've been looking forward to trying some for some time. I don't know what that means. Must have been adding something. Aries Tona says, do you plan on adding more bulk options, tea cakes and such? Or are there any plans for combo boxes to try varieties of each tea? Yes to both. So the combo boxes first. So the very first thing I ever did on the shop after I opened this channel. So I opened the channel in February of 2021, I think. And then in June of 2021, the first thing we ever sold like as a thing on the site was a sampler box of 4 different types of tea. We had a Puer Tea orange, 8-year-age Puer Tea orange, a Gourmet white tea ball, an ancient tree raw Puer dragon ball, and a Chimen red tea packet. Those 4 teas are now, we're redoing our sampler to have 8 teas. So these 4 will stay there, but we're going to be adding 4 more. We're going to be adding a Longjing green tea. We're adding our jasmine liubao, black jasmine liubao tea, black jasmine tea, very good. We're adding our roasted iron goddess oolong, Tiaguanyin oolong, and we're adding the Shomei white tea mini brick with mandarin peel slices. So the sampler box is now going to have 8 teas, 2 sessions of each, And those are going to be in stock very, very soon. We're expecting the shipment to come in on November 10th, I think was the date. So again, another like week or so, two weeks, and those will be in stock and available. For tea cakes, we have a whole bunch of tea cakes on the site. We have two kind of budget options, a sheng and a shou tea cake. They're both 48 bucks, and they both are 357 grams. So that's 35 to 50 sessions worth of tea. Those are the best deal on the website in terms of how much tea you can get for the money, because it comes down to like $1 a session. A session is more than enough for one person, easily gonna be enough for, you know, having 2, 3, 4 people, or a big tea session for yourself, or just use a little bit fewer leaves and stretch the sessions even more. Those are both really good. You're not giving up a lot by getting the cheaper option. The more expensive ones are, I think we have a couple. We have the sheng cake that is 98, the music of Meng Song, and starting in November, we're going to be selling these beautiful Shiniancang, the 2010, my friend Dui Dui, my tea guy in Yunnan, 2010 Reserve Ancient Tree Show Puer. You can see here, I just love the packaging here. Very nice. Dui Dui is a boss. His teas are really good. And that's on a stand just outside here, so you can't see it, unfortunately. But those are going to be on the website as well, along with the Fuding 2011 white tea cake. So that'll give us 5 tea cakes, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm always looking to add more. It's just a matter of like, I don't want to put anything on there that people won't really like, and there's no reason. I also don't want to overwhelm people. Like if I give you 10 choices, I'm going to get a lot of emails asking which of the 10 to choose. So I usually make this easier. If it gets on the website, that was my recommendation. And I don't like willy-nilly throw stuff onto the site. I don't buy like 10 of these tea cake and throw them up and just see if they sell. I kind of pick the ones that I really think will be good, and then I try to save money and keep the price down by getting them over on a boat ahead of time. And then we do all sorts of stuff. We wrap everything so that it is not going to have any issues from the flavor. Like we have bags inside a box inside a bag, like in order to make sure that it gets over here and it smells really good. More questions. From Jack and the Bean Quest said, Fuding 2011 tea cake is my favorite tea, period, and honestly not even close to my most expensive tea. It's really good. The truth about these, the thing with the expensive teas is teas can be expensive for a couple reasons. One reason they can be expensive is because they're rare. So if it's a type of tea that like not much of it is made, that could make it expensive, but doesn't necessarily make it any tastier. It just means that it's rare. It could be a tea that Chinese people within the Chinese tea market are kind of fighting for. White tea has a little bit of that going on. Like there are people fighting for aged white tea in China, so that makes the price go up. I personally believe that the aged white tea tastes as good as it's worth that money. But it depends on how much money, of course. And so that's why when I found that Fuding tea cake at that price, I was like, you know what, this is really good. And could I find one that's 5% better at that price if I keep looking for another year? Maybe. But I'm not finding anything that's way better than that at that price. And that price is like really reasonable. I think the full cake is like 90, is it 98, 88? I think it was 98 that I was selling it for. It couldn't have been 88 because it's too cheap. But but like, you know, 98 for that full cake, again, you're getting 300 grams, you're getting a lot of sessions, and old white tea is hard to find. So like, that's one of the reasons why the price is going up. And then the other reason is how well you know the tea people. So for my tea people, for my farmers that I work with, for my tea shop owners that I work with, a lot of these people, I've known them for like 10 years. You know, Duidui's, that tea that's going to be in the subscription box, Duidui's 13-year age cooked puer, I could easily sell it for 4 times what I'm going to sell it for. Like the value, if I was like, compared to other teas I've tasted and what I'm charging for them, like that tea is going to be way underpriced. It's really good. And so the result is like, you know, but I can do that because I'm actually not paying as much as I should for it because I've known Duidui for 10 years. So when I'm like, hey, I want to try to help share tea in America, he's like really excited about that. He would love for more people to be drinking really good tea. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you at a really reasonable price. Get people excited about it. Like have them try it, and then like we'll figure something else out in the future. And he's not losing money on them probably because he bought these 13 years ago for a lot less than that tea is going for now. So the result is I really do try to pass on as much of the savings to you guys as possible. So great. Hi, Jesse, ditto. Oh, crap, I'm from Mark Robert, but I missed what was asked above that. So I missed the ditto. Repost, please. I'm sorry. Cultural export. Yeah, it's great culture. Really good. You working directly with the farmers and workers is the biggest reason why I plan on buying from you. Thank you. I mean, I would, in an ideal world, Chinese tea farmers would be able to just like understand Western social media well enough and be allowed onto Western social media well enough to be able to be posting themselves. Even then though, I still think there would be room for someone like me who's like helping to drink through all the teas, helping to translate some of the culture and stuff like that, and just being a tea guy. And so it is. But we live in a world much worse than that, where all the Chinese creators are behind firewalls and they can't get on the Western media. And even if they could, they would still not really know how to be able to share this stuff. And it's not like there's a whole group of Chinese tea farmers out there who are excellent in English and know enough about memes that they can get views online. So I really feel like I'm being of help to them, and they really feel like they're being of help to me. And it winds up being really good because if you think about all the people who get in between you and buying the thing, if you want to buy tea in a supermarket, you have to buy, there's the farmer, there's a wholesaler within China that sells to a wholesaler within America, who sells to a brand in America, who sells to a supermarket in America, who then maybe you bought it online, so there's an online merchant, and then it gets to you. There's like 8 people taking money during this process. And so what I do is I go to the farmers, I'm like, send it to me, I have it in America, and if you go on the shop now and you get anything, then I send it to you. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that now that the internet is here. So the main challenge is how to get people to know about it and do the right way, and then that makes my job fun because my job then becomes hanging out with tea farmers and tea shop owners and like really finding the good teas. So cheers. Questions over here. West China Tea says, West China Tea, how you doing? A good friend, Sohan. I'm going to be over there in Texas sometime soon. Yeah, knowing how to find good tea and being good at marketing, making good tea and being good at marketing are not skill sets that overlap, and that's very true. Like a lot of these tea farmers, it's like they don't want to be running meme pages. They don't want to be making content. They want to like grow the tea, process the tea well, and live their life. And so whether it's a Westerner who's coming to the Western media or a Chinese brand that's selling to Chinese people, usually the farmers don't want to get involved with that. And so it's kind of to everybody's benefit. So cheers. Connor says hi. Hello, Connor. You can stop spamming the chat. Hi, how you doing? Questions over here at West China Tea. Looking forward to it. You can see the tea house before they tear it down. Yeah, I'm super sorry. West China tea house is getting turned down because apparently we need more highways. There's like fucking 10 tea houses in the whole country, and one of them is getting torn down and expand a highway, which sucks. But they'll be back in a new venue, I'm sure. And the tea house is the people. It's not the building. The building is a building. So we'll have some fun together before that happens. What questions over here from somebody? Freeman, I'm trying to see Tony Freeman. I can't quite see it. Are the different teas bitter? Where I live, there's no tea houses that aren't just tea bags. Yeah, this is the challenge. Is like everybody who's making tea from a tea bag. It's just not done. Like in China, they don't have tea bags, so people don't think to grind up the tea and make it crappy. And so it's it's a part of the challenge is how to get people to drink good tea and like experience what it's like to drink actual tea. Like, it's a different thing than you're getting with your tea bags. So I'm very excited for the AT sampler to come on board once we get them shipped over. They were supposed to be here already. They got held up at the port in China for a month. So we wanted to have them in mid-October. They're going to be arriving early November. And then once those are out, that's really, I really hope that can be a gateway for people into trying really good teas, because there'll be 8 teas in every box. And like, that's a lot of variety. And so it'll be enough for you to try many different types and flavors and see what you like and what you don't. And I expect people will like most, or if not all of them. But again, some of that's personal taste. So questions. Mr. Nobody said, I used to get teabagged a lot, then my dad moved out. I'm glad we got to share that with each other. I don't know about the rest of the chat, but I'm glad we had that moment. And now that moment is over. Very nice. More questions over here. Do you ever, have you ever considered a collab with Chinese Cooking Demystified? I love that channel. I don't know the people. If you know them, I'd be glad to work with them. Maybe I should just private message them. They may actually know me from my comedy career if they live in China and they watch Chinese TV. So why not? I should be doing more stuff like that. I think once I get my show up and running, again, we haven't fully announced it, but the new talk show / podcast is going to be launching in the beginning of November. Tea Time with Jesse. Pay attention for it. When it's out, subscribe to the podcast, and then obviously keep following on all the channels you're watching on, especially the YouTube people, because YouTube is going to have these 12 to 20 minute highlight videos of the episodes, and everybody else just gets shorts. So if you're interested, as soon as I come out with the podcast thing, sign up, subscribe to the actual audio podcast, and follow the YouTube if you can as well, because it's going to be a ton of fun. Very, very cool. Questions over here from Wu says, Wu says, oh, do you like Chinese cooking? Tea snacks would be cool. I have been looking into doing a tea snack box. Cooking, I love Chinese cooking. I actually didn't cook when I was in China because 9 years, food was cheap, the cooks were good. I was basically eating out every meal. But now that I'm back in the States, food is expensive. Going out is expensive, and especially for Chinese food. I'm fortunate to live in LA, where there's tons of great Chinese culture here. But if back when I was in Boston during the pandemic, there were some good Chinese restaurants, but not many. And during the pandemic, it wasn't really open. You can only get takeout. So I learned how to do Chinese cooking during the pandemic over Billy on the internet, and asking some of my friends who are cooks. And if you go way back in the channel to last Chinese New Year, you'll see I have some friends who visited me in California, and we all made, my friend Tammy made this amazing Chinese New Year spread, and it was like so good. It was so good. Cheers, everybody. Over here from Billy Velasquez says, hello, brand new subscriber here. Thank you so much. My friends and I started having a little tea club on Sundays. Our 5-month-old seems to calm down when he smells the tea. That's great. I mean, I don't know medically whether kids that young should have tea or caffeine, but the smell can only be a good thing. And if smell calms them down, it's a good tea time. That seems like a really chill way to spend a Sunday. So, here on Saturday, enjoy yourselves, have some tea. By the way, if you're just joining or you're new to the channel, I'm Jesse, I'm your tea guy. I lived in China for 9 years. I know all sorts of tea farmers and tea shop owners, and I basically get lots of samples of their tea. I try them out. I make videos sharing tea culture, explaining tea culture to people, and just generally sharing this really amazing thing that has been part of my life since I lived in China. And I also have a website, so jessesteahouse.com. I'm Jesse. Jesse's Tea House is basically my online version of my dream tea house. The teas that would be in it, the sort of equipment that would be in it, the tea pets that would be there. We have new tea pets. Pufferfish tea pet is coming out in November. They are already here and very happy. So you can go to the website. A lot of our stuff is out of stock right now. Some stuff is not, obviously. We have a lot of stuff in stock, but there is a lot of stuff that's out of stock, and we apologize for that. We are getting new shipments in. We're getting 3 shipments in November alone, and then we have another one coming in December before Christmas that have already been prepped, and they're coming. So we're trying the hardest we can to stay in stock. It's actually really good. You guys every time we get a new shipment and it sells out way quicker than I thought it would. And China's a wacky place. I keep overestimating our ability to get shipments from China to here quickly. But if you want really good Chinese tea, it comes from these really remote areas. So like everything's kind of hard. Even in the modern day, we have roads, but like it just takes a while. Also, country people live on their own time. So like tea farmers, you're like, can you get this done today? And they're like, yeah. And then like 4 days later, you call them back and they're like, oh yeah, we didn't start doing that. I'm like, so we're working on it. Questions over here. Bill Vasilis says, I've seen a lot of people taking filtered or distilled water for tea seriously. What's your opinion? Do not drink distilled water with tea. It's not going to hurt you. It's just not going to taste like anything. Distilled water, I have a friend named Thomas Dahlhelm, who's a professor at University of Chicago, but was also a Fulbright scholar with me back in 2012 in Beijing. And so we hung out a bunch because we were both Fulbright scholars in Beijing. His research is on, I guess you'd say behavioral psychology, but he's a data guy and a tea guy. And so he got the idea to test distilled, tap, and bottled water for tea. And he found that distilled water was the worst out of all of them. And I think the reasoning here is that distilled water has nothing in it. So there's no trace minerals or stuff for the flavors of the tea to be able to cling to. And so as a result, it just doesn't taste like much. That is what I have heard. And it also jives with my experience as well. I've tried making tea with distilled water once or twice, and it wasn't that good. So I think he would be a good guest. Now I'm thinking about it, he'd be a good guest on the show because he definitely has that. Cheers. He definitely has that that experience. And by the way, if you do get anything on my website and you're watching the stream, let me know because I will give you a tea pet pour on whichever tea pet you would like. So you can ask whether you want to see Big Puff or Chonky Horse get some tea. If you make an order, let me know in the comments and I'll get you there. Jonathan Kolska says, any hints about the new horse subscription box? Well, got a pretty big hint right here. Pretty chunky, derpy hint right here. Look at it. Look at this unit. Oh my God. This is the tea pet that's going to be coming in the new in the new tea box. And we are having 3 teas in the box. Actually, I have them right here. Hold on. Give you a little pre-reveal. I just got them shipped. 1, 2, and 3. So these are the 3 Horsebox teas. I have not made my official launch videos yet, but they're right here. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. 3 new teas. This is the Yangchun Snow. This is the Yangchun Snow Jasmine. So this is a classic green jasmine tea. These are going to be available, by the way, on November 1st. So on November 1st, go subscribe to the Tea Club. You'll get them at the same time as everybody else. Yangchun Snow Jasmine, very bright, floral, just like classic jasmine tea. Somehow it took me 2 years of running a tea website before I just had a classic jasmine tea. But that's it. Snow jasmine, very pretty. Also, we have the 2017 White Dew White Tea. So this is a Fuding White Tea. You guys may have noticed I just love Fuding White Tea. Very like good herbal, bold, a little bit of fruitiness, and like big leaves. You can see the big bag. It's all big, puffy, big leaves. It's fun because you put them in the cup, it'll like overflow the cup, and then when you put the water in, it'll actually start to go down a bit. But that's really great. And then the winner of the really, I think the best tea in the box is this tea. This is the 2010 Reserve. My friend Duido's 2010 Reserve cooked Puer Tea. If you had the 2005 Langhe aged Puer Tea, you're gonna love this. It also comes in bags that we have broken up these tea bricks into bags. It's basically loose leaf tea at this point because it was packed so loose. But it's available either in the full cake or in the bag. If you're a subscriber to the Tea Club, you'll get a bag for free, or not for free, but it like comes with the subscription. And then those are the 3 teas that are going to be in the horse box. We have our horse teapot over there, and then let me show you the horse cup as well, because every subscription box comes with a cup. Here it is. It's a big boy teacup. I actually haven't unwrapped this. I have the sample that I was sent, but I haven't unwrapped the actual teacup from the actual place. Beautiful cup, baby. Oh yes, I love it. So this is the horse cup. Show you guys real quick. Gold rim around the bottom and the front, and then a gold horse on the cup, carved with a laser carved. Also, just like, I don't know if you can pick it up on here, but the detailing on the bottom there, the detailing on the bottom of the rim is really nice. Doesn't really show up on the live, but very, very nice. So these are really pretty, big cup. So this is kind of a nod to the Western tea drinking. You can do a gongfu style thing, fill up this cup completely. It won't really overfill, and have like a nice, good, solid sized cup of tea. And I think they're great. So these are, that's the horse box. Launches November 1st. If you're a new person to the website, you didn't know I had a tea club or whatever, wait until November 1st, go to the website and try subscribing, because not only do you save money when you subscribe, but like this is what I spend my time on. It's like I'm trying to find 3 good teas. They come once every quarter. Every 3 months you get 3 new teas. You can cancel any time. You can get a double box. You can get the teapot. You can get the teacup. You can get just the cup. You can get just the pet with the teas, whichever you'd like. And like, you know, it's just like a really good way of getting your tea, because it's the way to do it. It's the way to do it. So cheers. Any questions about that? Happy to share. Jordan asked, how you been? It's been a while since I caught a live. I'm pretty good. I'm getting through. It's a crazy time because we've had a bunch of new people come in through YouTube. Welcome, YouTube fans. And that sold us out of a lot of products that I had worked so hard to be in stock for Black Friday. We had so many new people join that we sold out all the stuff that I thought we were going to be selling on Black Friday. So I've kind of been in a manic, restock mode. But luckily, we have a small team in China. Followers of the page know I talk about Claire Hong are basically my lieutenant in China, who's helping make the process of the reorders smooth. And she also is a hella designer, designed our bags. You know, look at how cool this is. Also the bag design, I don't know if you can see it on here, but like it's got some calligraphy up on the top, some like shaded calligraphy up on the top of the bag. And then on the back of the bag, we have images of the architecture from the areas where the tea is from. So like very fun stuff. And we have this, where's my stamp? And on all of the bags, this is gonna be really fun. This is the first time we've ever been able to do this. About 6 months ago, the master calligrapher Tang Qingnian, who lives here in California, I was able to get in touch with him through the radio station, the Chinese radio station I host my show on. He carved me this handmade jade seal. This is a jade stamp with Jesse Chaguar, Jesse's Tea House, carved out on the bottom of the seal. So this is hand carved by the master calligrapher. And he gave me this seal, company seal, as a gift. So in a traditional Chinese contract or whatever, you have to stamp a seal to show that it's a signature. Signatures in China don't mean anything legally. You have to have the stamp. And so we have now incorporated this stamp into the packaging of the bags. So it's the official Jesse's Tea House stamp. It's binding. It is an official Jesse's Tea House product, and we are very proud of it. So very, very excited to have all of those new teas coming forward. And again, November 1st. So unfortunately, I can't do pre-orders of them because of the way the technology works, and I don't want to like have a bunch of people waiting and confused. But in just 3 days, we're going to be launching that. And if you haven't subscribed, that's the time to subscribe, because you'll get the tea immediately. Two, we do live, like Discord only, like so tea subscriber only live stream chats where I just hang out with all the tea subscribers. We'll go through the teas, we'll taste them, I'll do tasting notes, I'll show you how to make them. That's a subscriber only thing that I do on my Discord channel. You'll just be able to have the most time to be able to enjoy the teas before the next box comes in February. So it's a really good tea club, and it's also the best deal on the website for the amount of tea you get and the quality for the price. Is the subscription box, and it's 10% off if you subscribe. So it's really if we have any subscribers in the chat, I'm sure they'll be able to share. We have a very high satisfaction rating. Almost nobody leaves the subscription. And like, I take that to be that the fact that people really like it, because a lot of other subscription programs, like people will join, they don't like it, they quit. We spend a lot of time doing the subscriptions. It's great. Blue says, I'm glad you could use a wonderful stamp. It's great. OO says, I'm curious if my 20-year-old tea break is especially delicious. Could I send you some? Oh, I don't know. I mean, if you had 20-year age tea, I have a lot of tea. I do appreciate people asking to send me tea. I have been thinking about maybe doing a series where I drink other people's teas and give them my thoughts on it, but like, I'm not really going to be like dissing anyone else's tea in reality. So I'd say just enjoy it. If you have 20-year age tea, you should maybe save some of it, but drink some of it, because, having a great tea like that, like, there were definitely teas that I was like aging in my collection in Beijing back when I lived in China, and then the world blew up and I couldn't get back to China, and I lost some of it completely, and then the rest of it is stored somewhere I don't know where it is, and it's going to be a mess. I got some of it back, including what we're drinking today, but like, the world is short. You may, like, you may not, I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen, but like, bad shit can happen, and like, you don't want to put off enjoyment so long that you never get to enjoy the thing at all. So I would say, keep aging some of it and drink some of it as well. So that is what I would recommend. So cheers. I'm going to refill some of my water here. There we go. I feel much classier now that I have this thing to pour water from. I was using these empty Gatorade bottles for like 6 months. It's good not to waste plastic, but like aesthetically, I feel like I could get something better than I use Gatorade bottles. You showed us the 200K tea cake recently. This is from Dominic Deutsch on YouTube. You showed us the 2000K tea cake recently. What was the most expensive tea you have ever tried, and how was it? The most expensive tea I have ever tried was a tea cake that they said was from 1910. So that at the time I tried it, it was a little over 100 years old. And 1910 is 1 year before the Xinhai Revolution, which means that it was from the Qing Dynasty. Again, they said, because again, so the way that I drank this tea was that people may not know, but my previous life before I was a tea guy, I was living in China and I was a Chinese comedian. I apprenticed to a master comedian named Ding Guangquan, and I studied with him 7 years doing a traditional type of Chinese comedy. The tea people and the comedy people know each other because the traditional comedy is performed at tea houses in China. So for me, tea houses originally, before I got into tea, that's where you do your shows. If you're a comedian in China, you do traditional comedy, then you show up in a tea house and you make people laugh. One of the tea houses had a magazine, and the magazine was doing an article on this really old tea. And they wanted to invite a group of interesting people to drink it. So they invited a very famous artist who I didn't know, but was like a fine artist. They invited a couple other people, and then somebody told them that there was this Westerner who was a disciple of Ding Guangquan and was really into tea. And so they said, oh, well, he should come too. And so I just got a call basically saying, like, we're writing this article, do you want to come to the tea market and drink this really rare aged tea with us? And I was like, yeah. There's the weird perks of being a Chinese comedy star. So I show up at this place, and they have this like huge like chest that contains like one tea cake that's kind of like been half drunk, and it's like really old. And it has all of the other things, like they have it in, like they have the stack ticket, which is they still have them in tea today. Do I have any of the stack tickets next to me? This is a stack ticket. Here it is. So this tea cake is one of the ones I sell on my site. This is the one Gong Sheng Puer raw puer tea, and if you open the tea, inside the tea is this, and this is a description of the tea. But basically, what this is an anti-counterfeiting measure. So when these are made, whenever you press your tea on the year that you make it, you record the stack ticket. And the stack. You also keep stack tickets of the original, so you can see what paper they're printed on and blah blah blah. Because these are pressed literally into the cake many times. They're like pressed in with the leaves, so they cannot be extricated. And that is basically the proof of purchase that the tea that you have is the tea that it claims to be. So they have the stack tickets for the aged tea, and I got to try some of it. It was not the best tea I've ever had. It's not like it's the best tea I've ever had, like, oh, the oldest is automatically the best. It was really good. And it was a cooked puer, or I'm sorry, not cooked puer, raw puer, but it had aged so much that it was the closest to being a dark, cooked puer that I've had as a raw puer. It was like completely black because it had oxidized so much over 100 years. And then the flavor was actually lighter than I expected. The flavor is actually lighter than I expected. I think that at a certain point, like the flavor kind of like dumps off a bit, or at least flatlines, and it's not going to get really any different from being aged more. But what I remember about it is it had amazing, what they call teaaa, the tea energy. The tea energy was excellent. I took a couple sips and I literally felt the tips of my fingers tingling. Like it felt like I was drinking this, like, just like excellent tea. Everything was flowing. And so that was my main. It's funny, like you drink 100-year-old tea, it's weird to think about your fingertips, but that's what I keep coming back to, is these tingling fingertippies. It was almost like my body got tea drunk. And normally you get tea drunk, it kind of feels like your head is tea drunk or your heart, but it was kind of like the whole body had this great energy from it. Now, this was in a magazine. I haven't independently confirmed that what they told me was true. So it's not like I've hired private investigators. They told me it was from 1910. It could have been. I'm not the expert that's going to be able to tell that, but if they were lying, they were lying in a magazine in front of all these other famous artists, more people famous than me, and it's not a good look. So that's my little story for that. Luke says, you've inspired me to continue with my Puer Tea. Great. How would you dream to build your business? Like, what's in the future? Like, things I'd like to do in the future. And in 2024, some of these might be achievable, especially if we see the continued support from our YouTube friends. The last month has been great because we've had so many new YouTube people coming. 2024, here's the plans. Continue my show. The show hasn't launched yet, but in mid-November, we're going to launch a podcast and an interview tea time show where I have interesting people over and we drink tea and we talk about cool cultural stuff. I hope that show will continue to grow. I'd like to do episodes of that shows in different cities around this country and also in China and in Taiwan. So that's going to happen. That's going to be fun. I'm going to do pop-ups of like an in-person tea house. I basically want to do like a test run of what it'd be like to actually have an in-person tea house. And figure out how to align that with the other stuff that I do well, which is the media, the videos, being a teacher to people online. How can I be a teacher if we have a shop that I'm not always there all the time? How can I be a teacher if if rent is expensive and it's hard to have those places? We're going to try to solve some of those problems. And I'd love to be able to have an actual in-person location in 2024 or 2025 if everything goes well. That sounds way in the future, but it's actually not that far away. Other things I really want to do is I want to be going back to China and do more master boxes. This last trip back to China, I went to the tea hills and I stayed 12 days up on the tea mountains in Yunnan and got to meet a bunch of farmers and tea people, and being able to work with them directly to make exactly the product we wanted. This beautiful master box. These are going to be back in stock soon. We're doing 2 rounds of restocks, but like this is the result of that trip, are these beautiful master boxes where inside this one box we have 4 different mini tea cakes, bricks, tea resins. Each of these mini cakes, mini tea things is a different tea, different year, types of tea. It's just like, I'm so proud of this thing we put together. I'm also super happy we sold out, but I'm also sad because like we sold these out way faster than I expected, and they're expensive. Like the tea is really good. This is the highest quality tea I have on the website. And so the result is that like they're expensive to make. And we also have to pay for a lot of hand labor to be able to put them together. So I made 200 of them and I thought, well, you know, they're $108. You know, if we sell 200 of these, we'll be in good shape. We don't really make a lot of money because like basically all of the costs of designing the box and doing that stuff and the shipping, the packaging, and the tea itself, by the time it gets to you guys, like we haven't made a ton of money. But like people bought them all out, so now we're restocking, and we have another 100 coming over, and we're restocking another 200 that it's going to come after that. So I'd love to do more stuff like this because this was, you know, I feel really proud of this thing. Just like to be able to go from sitting on the tea mountain to holding the finished thing in my hand is like really, really cool. So I'm hopeful I'll be able to do that again at some point in 2024. So very, very good. I've been missing a lot of questions. I'm sorry. Traveling pop-ups would be awesome. Glad to hear that. That's also another way to bring people over there. Something about Western, something dream personalities you would love to interview with. From Luke, like who would I love to interview on the thing? I mean, I do comedy, so I'd love to have some great comedians on. I'm sure there's a lot of great comedians I'd be interested in, you know, talking shit and drinking tea. That would be fun. I'd love to also be able to get some people on who are important within the U.S.-China relationship, American diplomats, Chinese diplomats, business leaders, cultural heads. Like, I'm obsessed with this idea of like trying to get the U.S.-China relationship out of this rut it's in, where everybody's fighting and there's no trust, and it just goes against all of the personal experience that I've had living in China, which is that like the regular people do not have a problem with each other. So if we have problems with each other, it exists on a political and sort of like governmental level, because almost all the Chinese that get a chance to come here and study and live enjoy at least aspects of America, and all the Americans who get a chance to go there enjoy many aspects of China. And it does not have to be as hard as we're making it. And so I'm always trying to figure out like what is the next step? How do we do a better job of this? And so, you know, me making my tea, making my comedy, using the internet, talking to people, making this about people. I really feel that's the solution. And maybe it's just because that's my personal background, but like I really feel like the discourse on China in the United States is very shallow, and a lot of it's mistaken. The discourse on America and China is very biased, and it's, you know, Americans can't share our news in China. We can't share what's going on. It has to be shared through a Chinese company. And Americans have no ability to really share what they're doing. And so Chinese people get a very warped view of America because of that. There's also a lot of anti-American propaganda that's pushed there, which makes it difficult for regular people to know what's real. Even if they know that the propaganda is propaganda, it's not like they can also find the real stuff. They just kind of have to deal with whatever propaganda is out there. So I think that would be really cool. And like, you know, I've been fortunate through both being a Fulbright scholar and you know, being a grant winner at the U.S. Embassy Like I know some people who are in diplomacy within the space. I think they would be great to have on the thing as well. And then, cheers. So, and then potentially other food influencers, because I didn't really realize it, but apparently I'm a food influencer, if you want to say it that way. I never set out to be a food influencer. I don't think of myself that way. But like when I look at the people online who are creating good content that looks like the stuff that I'd like to create for tea, a lot of it's about food, cooking, meat, different culinary dishes, culinary science. I think that'd be fun to have on the show too. So that'd be fun. Very good. Lots of questions over here. I'm sorry, I've been missing them. Drunksky says, maybe a fun question. Seeing as you are the tea guy, do your friends, acquaintances see you as such? So in other words, if people gift tea to you, do you get tea bags? If so, what do you do with it? People know I like tea. I think though that they probably correctly assume if you're gonna give Jesse tea, it should be good. Or at least special in some way. So I actually don't get as much tea gifted to me by Americans or even like Chinese friends of mine as you might think. The flip side is the other tea people in China who I buy my tea from, they give me lots of gifts. So I have a lot of tea cakes here that are, gifts from my tea friends. Some of them are samples saying like, hey, you should stock this in your store. Other of them are like here. This tea cake is 2006 Iwu Mountain tea cake that I got as a gift from my tea guy Yunqing because he's like, you're buying so much tea from me, take one of these for yourself. And so I only have one. And if I were to sell this sort of thing on the shop, it might be whatever, $250, $300 maybe even more. But I got one for me. So those are the people who give the good tea gifts or the other tea people. So that sounds good. I think I'm probably going to get going soon. I want to do a couple more questions, but I'm going to get going soon. I need a London FC United says, I need a good filter. Any recommendations? I mean, the filter that comes in my blue-white Gaiwan set, I really like. You can see the filter holder and the filter here. Filter is very effective. The problem is I don't sell these individually. So if you want one, you'd have to get a whole set. That being said, the set is really nice. Like I really like the blue-white porcelain Gaiwan set we have on the site. You can buy individual filters though on Amazon, and that's like the sort of thing where, I never want to send people to Amazon because I have no control over that, and it's the sort of thing that kills people like me trying to start a small business in a specialized sector. But like, of all the things you could buy on Amazon, a filter is probably going to be fine. It's probably just a filter. You're not going to die because of the filter being bad, or like you're not going to get cheated out like filter is really expensive. It's just a filter. I'd say just pick the one you have the best aesthetic fit with, or if you were looking to get a whole Gaiwan set, then that's actually the best place to get the filter because then it'll match all your other stuff. So that's a way to look at it. Questions over here. We have a question from YouTube. Make sure I can go down from Nat Cameron. If I wanted to get into tea for the first time, what would you recommend for the first try, and what equipment would you get would be the best thing to buy? I have the answer to this, although it's annoying because we're out of stock right now. But in mid-November, we're going to be restocked on both my tea sets and my sampler boxes. So this is the travel tea set that I usually recommend for new people. It has everything you need. It's got the table. It's got the lidded cup, it's got the cups, it's got the pitcher, it's got the filter, it's got the holder. I give a tea pet away for free with each of these, so you even have a tea pet. And I also have a sampler that I was telling people about where we're going to be upgrading our current sampler, which has 4 teas, to have 8 teas. So you'll have a little bit less of each tea, but you'll have 4 different types of tea. That's what I recommend. When it comes out, this and a tea sampler combined are going to be the perfect way to get into tea. And it's gonna be a good deal, good quality, good price, lots of different types of tea, and you can make the tea in the traditional way, and you can pack it up, and you can even take it with you to a friend's house. I take this with me on the road in a suitcase, and then I have like a nice tea set, like a really good tea setup considering it's on the road. That's the recommendation I have. Unfortunately, if you want to do that the way I recommend, you're going to need to wait until around mid-November, but we'll definitely be back in stock in front of Black Friday, and we will definitely be in stock in front of Christmas. So that's the best way to do it, I think. Obviously, if you have money, and like money is not a problem, there are bigger and better sets, but as a beginner, I would even recommend just having a set like this anyway, because if you find that you make a lot of tea and you're really like, I wish I had a bigger tea set, this is always going to be useful. You can keep this in your trunk of your car, and then just like always be ready to go to a friend's house, have tea or whatever. You can have this one, you know, around to bring to a friend's house, even if you have a bigger tea table. So like, I think these are just useful in general. So that's my recommendation. When do you say it would be on the website? The new samplers are hopefully coming. The date we have is November 2nd to the port. Then it's going to take a couple days to get it from the port to the warehouse and get it like added into the system. So I'd say second week of November is pretty safe. And I'm really excited about that sampler remake, because the first thing we ever did on this whole shop was that sampler, and it really hasn't changed much since we launched the site. And now we're bigger, we're better, we're more organized, and more importantly, we buy more tea. So like, we had loose leaf tea that we wanted to put into that sampler, but like we just weren't buying enough for the vendors. The tea farmers and the tea shops are just like, we're not gonna pack these into little 5-gram bags for you. We can do a 50-gram bag, but we're not gonna do 10 5-gram bags. And now we're able to have enough scale where we have 5-gram bags of some of the loose tea, so that we are able to give people essentially a sample. Sometimes people are like, why don't you give out samples? And I'm like, you have no idea how hard it is to get really tiny bags of loose leaf tea made. You really need to have a lot of scale, because they won't pack 200 5-gram bags for you. Like, you need machines, you need packing things, you need hot sealing machines, you need to have every one of those barcoded. Like, there's so much that goes into doing a sample from that. The only other way is if I had a box of loose leaf tea, I could be doing it here by hand, but then that's not necessarily sanitary. And like, then I'd spend all my time not doing tea stuff for you people. I'd be packing little 5-gram bags. So that sampler is going to be really exciting. I'm very excited for it. So if you're new to the channel and you're wondering, how do I get started? My advice would be to wait until November 1st, subscribe to the subscription box where you get the 3 teas, and then optionally, or you can get the sampler box, and the 3 teas from the subscription are different from the 8 teas in the sampler. So between that, you would have 11 teas. It's like a real tea collection going on. So very, very good. Questions over here. Very, very good. A couple last questions. Appreciate the work you put into this. Thank you so much, Matabir. It is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and it's exciting to get, you know, tea has really changed my life, and now doing tea on the internet has changed my life again. And so I just feel very grateful for all you guys for picking me as your tea guy, because it means that I get to spend my time hanging out with tea farmers, drinking teas, and also just like a lot of good energy is coming from it. Like, you know, I get all these emails. Sometimes I get emails saying like, hey, the tea really helped me out of a dark place, or the tea has made it better, easier for me to connect to my girlfriend or my wife and my family. We have people who've told me that they were like addicted to alcohol, and they've used the tea as a way to get off of the alcohol or reduce their drinking or drug use. And like, it's surprisingly good for stuff like that. Like the mindful connection to treat yourself and the process well. Like, if I'm gonna have my tea, I'm gonna get good tea leaves. If I'm gonna have good tea leaves, I'm gonna have a place to make them. If I'm gonna make them, I'm gonna make them well. I'm gonna pay attention to the steep time and temperature. I'm gonna focus and make this something on a Saturday that's grounding. I can have my friends over, I can have my family over. I can really like enjoy the tea. And when you treat yourself well in that sense, that kind of knocks on to other areas of your life. You know, there's definitely like a a new way of looking at things that can come from the tea. And the tea itself, the caffeine, the theanine, the tea energy stuff in the tea lends itself to focus. In China, monks drink tea because it aids that sort of, it's both a stimulant to get up, but it aids in focus. It doesn't distract you. It makes it easier to focus on the task at hand. And so I think that makes it human beings have been drinking tea leaves for 2,000 years. There's a reason. It's a really good thing. And it's just such a shame that like in the West, the tea bag, this like weird mutilated version of this thing is what everybody knows as tea. And so that's ultimately like my long-term hope for this is like, I don't need to get everybody drinking raw pu'er and making stuff on a tea table with a lidded cup. I just need to remind people that like, it's like if you only ever ate like white bread, like Wonder Bread, and then somebody's like, no, that's not bread. Like, I mean, it is a bread, but like there's so much more to bread than Wonder Bread. And then everybody just eats Wonder Bread. It's like, no, like try this. I baked it myself in the home, or this is a sandwich. Like this is what happens when you put the bread and stuff together. Like it feels like the Western tea world, like the whole tea bag scene is just like, everybody eats Wonder Bread every day and they don't know there's anything better. So that would be the way to do it. So very, very cool. Liam just says, just finished my first time using my new tea set with my sister. It was an absolutely great new experience. Thank you for bringing the new experience to my life. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And if anybody wants tea sets and stuff like that, I have them on my shop, jessecos.com. Liam, I'm really glad that you liked it. And hopefully, this can be something that you can do with your family, with your friends, even by yourself or even over live stream. I just like every day, I'm like, gotta have my tea. I gotta make my tea. And whenever I can, I like to have one of these longer tea sessions, which today I'm sharing with you guys. But like, earlier in the week, I had friends over for tea. And that's the idea behind the podcast and the talk show is I was already having interesting people over for tea. I'm like, why are we not recording this or filming this? Because it could be really fun. And there's a lot of cool stuff that comes up when you're talking about tea. So I'm gonna do one or two more questions and then get going. It's definitely coming back. Questions, are the tea oranges coming back soon? Yes, they are. We restocked them months ago and then they got held up at the port in China. That being said, we have not restocked enough. Like I'm already beating myself up on this. We're already planning another restock. I only bought 75 bags of them because I was hoping I would be able to redo the packaging. So when they come in, if you see them up and you want them, buy them because they will go out of stock. Black Friday, Christmas, Chinese New Year, there's no way they're making it to January. They may not make it to December. I don't know, and we're working to restock them. But if you see them and you want them, buy them because they're hard to keep in stock. Other questions? Questions. How old was the oldest tree that you have tried tea from? And what's the oldest? Oh, I missed it. It scrolled up. I talked about the oldest tea I had. The oldest tree, the 1,000-year tree tea that's in my master box. We have 1,000-year red tea, and that's got to be up there. 1,000 years is really old. If I've had older than that, not by much, because like Tianjia, the area that I was in June, and if you scroll back on my reels all the way back, or my shorts, TikToks all the way back to June, you'll see the tea area was really, really cool. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go up and see the ancient trees this time because of the fire protection season. But next time I go back, we're gonna go up and see some of those old trees, and it's really amazing. We did get to see other old tea tree mountains. I have some videos on that. Bingdao, we went to the ancient village in Bingdao. I went to Laobanzhang. I went to Jingmaishan. I went to all of these places that are kind of like heaven for tea people. So it was a lot of fun. It was great. One last question, right? One last question over here. Jesse, tuning in from Hungary. Really love your content. Thank you, Glaug. Thanks for letting us know more about tea. Keep it up. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I mean, it's also on my list. Somebody asked me what I wanted to do in 2024. It's also on my list to look at getting a European distribution center going, because we have lots of people in Europe that are paying a lot of money for shipping. And I feel bad about it, but like I don't control the shipping prices. The way I set up the shipping is really good for customers in the USA, but it just means that Europeans pay more money. There wasn't really a choice because I had to start somewhere, and like, I have no background in running a tea business. I'm just a tea guy. I was a tea drinker. So like, it's not like I know how to set up a distribution center in Europe like that, but we are getting there. And with what I've learned, I think the chances of getting an EU-based tea thing going in 2024 is not impossible. And that will bring the shipping down and hopefully allow all our European guests a better chance to be able to get the shipping rates down, get the VAT down, get the have better experience. So I know you guys are out there, and I appreciate your support. Everybody who buys tea from outside the USA, thank you so much, because I know it's not cheap, especially once you factor in that shipping. If you are buying from overseas, do think about getting a couple items at once, because that'll spread the shipping out over more items. Same for friends in Australia and New Zealand. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are used to it being way out there on your islands, but like, it's expensive. So I apologize. So here we go. Luke says, you are my hero. Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. One or two last questions. Very, very good. Question from Gunnar Schwarkenkamp. I drink orange pico tea bags. What type of tea would be good to try similar to them and not in tea bag form? So orange pico tea is in the West, in the West you call it black tea, in China you call it red tea. So any of the red teas on my site will be the same type of tea, and that's gonna be good to try. They don't use the same tippy orange pico thing. That's a British tea classification system, and in China they don't do that. But I look for red tea. If you like more floral red tea, more sweet and floral red tea, then I would recommend the Meizhan floral red tea, Meizhan. That's on my website. If you go to red tea, the Meizhan floral scent red tea, that's really good. And then if you want a more punchy, dark, aged, more intense red tea, I would go for the Bangdong Ancient Tree Red Tea, B-A-N-G, Bang, D-O-N-G, Dong, Bangdong Ancient Tree Red Tea. I think we are still in stock of both of those. So both of those on my site, jessiesteahouse.com. I think you'd enjoy both of them. You can try both if you want. They're actually, this is part of the fun, is they're different enough that I think you'll be able to taste significant differences in the style. Those are great. So really, really enjoy those. One or two last questions. I've been saying that I'm heading out, but I feel like you do good. What is the fan behind you? It looks beautiful. Thank you. That last point, because I'll do a thing on this fan. This fan is very important to me. This fan was the gift is the wrong word, although it is a gift. This is when I apprenticed to my comedy master. So I studied with a man named Ding Guangquan, traditional comedian in China. Comedy in China in the traditional style is all taught master to student. And so I spent 7 years apprenticing to Ding Guangquan to learn how to do traditional Chinese comedy. At the apprenticeship ceremony, Master Ding wrote the calligraphy on this fan and gave them out to the new disciples. And it reads over here, 爱杰西弟子拜师6年. So 爱杰西is my Chinese name. 爱杰西, 弟子 means disciple. So disciple 爱杰西, 拜师6年. So like the memento from apprenticeship. So that's marking what it is. On the left over here it says, Shi Ding Guangquan, so Master Ding Guangquan with his stamp. 2014 6/31, so June 30th on 2014. And on the main thing that you have here, this says 弄月嘲风. 弄月嘲风 means joke the moon and satirize the wind. So the idea is a good comedian should be able to make jokes about anything, from the moon to the wind. That is all the area that you should be looking for your comedy. And this fan was one of maybe 7 or 8 things from my old life that I was like, I will not lose that. I actually hired people to break into my own apartment during COVID because I took the keys with me. So my apartment was locked. There were a couple things I really needed. I needed my stamp that runs the company, because again, in China, the stamp is the this is legal. It doesn't matter if a signature goes on a page. If you don't have the stamp, you can't do any business. And importantly for me, can't apply for a visa because the company needs to stamp the paperwork. The stamp, the fan, there was a couple stuff that I was like, I want to secure that because I don't want my landlord kicking me out and like losing all of my possessions and losing stuff like this. And so I had a friend pack away the stamp, the fan, a couple other gifts from my comedy master. I'll show you my Puer bar. So this is funny. I've not done this on the channel before, but these are the. Does anybody know what these are? I bet you do not know what these are. These are Puer bar. This is a traditional Chinese instrument. That again, these were handmade by my master as well. These go along with the comedy. People will play the Puer bar, and they'll like do like 就在说上来真高兴，给你们唱一段这个传统快板绕口令。这个绕口令，男女老少都爱听。我要唱得出，您满意，请您多给我鼓励。我先给shit, I haven't done this in years. 我这人最爱听掌声，我先给大家鞠个躬。Like that. There you go. So, little traditional art. It's like fucking impossible to buy these in America, and even if I could buy them, this is handmade by my master. So, Master Ding has passed away, unfortunately, but trying to keep his work alive, and he was the only Chinese master that took foreign disciples. So, his way of sharing Chinese culture to abroad, I really studied with the master. If you're like, wow, this guy's good at sharing Chinese culture, like I studied with the master. And that is why that fan is right there. So I'm gonna finish off for today. It's a good question to end on. And I will see you all around. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'm Jesse, jessie'steahouse.com. That's where you can get the tea. All this stuff is in the USA, so if you want to get something, it'll be in the mail within 2 days. And wait until November 1st if you're new, because the subscription tea club, I have a subscription club. Every 3 months you get 3 new teas, and on November 1st, it triggers. We're sending out these 3 teas, the White Dew White Tea, the Yangchun Snow Jasmine, and also the Dui's 2010 Reserve 13-year aged Show Puer from these cakes. That's all going to be launching on November 1st. And also in November, I have secret stuff I have not revealed yet, but they include the pufferfish tea pet and a bunch of new tea pets, tea stuff, tea cup sets. It's all coming soon. So I'm very excited because we worked on this stuff for months. And then I can't like show it on the video because then everybody's like, where do I get it? And I'm like, it will be on the shop, but it's not here yet. So once I have it ready and it's ready to go to you, that's when I make all the content, and I'm very excited to see you guys. So awesome. Have a good one. Very excited. We have Shivtopia says, just warmed up the set, about to try some Baimao Green. Very excited. Enjoy your tea. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your tea time, everybody. I will see you guys around. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Now logging off. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. End live video. Bye-bye, guys. Have a good one.